It's almost summertime. Woo! We can get really excited this time of year because our kids are kind of coming back to us. I'm going to review just a couple of tips of typical over-the-counter products that you'll have in your house that you're going to be using regularly and can help you really create an easier, less stressful, and safe summer. Number one, always thinking about sun protection and sunscreen. First and foremost, the most important aspect of any sun protection wear is one that you'll use often and every time. So I think about that starting with hats and UV protective clothing. There's just no reason to put chemicals or even any ingredients on your kid's skin if you can cover it up. So I always have my kids wearing hats, particularly in the midday, which we consider that 10 a.m. to 4. And then we always wear those rash guard shirts as well. That way I only have to use the sunscreen kind of on their face, ears, neck, legs, and hands. When you're choosing a sunscreen, a couple things to remember. You want broad spectrum sunscreen. That includes coverage for UVA rays and UVB rays. UVB is just one type of radiation from the sun. And when you look at the SPF, that sun protective factor, the only number that that's reflecting to is the protection against UVB. You need that broad spectrum to also protect your kids and yourselves from the UVA rays of the sun. The best sunscreen is one used early and often. Put it on a half an hour before you get to the beach or are outside. If you have little kids, do it when they're strapped into their car seats because they can't wrestle away from you. And then make sure if your kids are swimming, you're reapplying it every hour or two in minimum. If they're sweating a lot, if they're using a lot of activity, if they have a lot of contact, it will come off. Don't hesitate to reapply. Number two, insect repellent. Of course, you can use long sleeve clothing to help protect your kids. And one very quick reminder, don't put insect repellent directly on a child's face, mouth, eyes, or nose. But after that, what I want you to think about is using an EPA-registered insect repellent. There is an online tool that you can use to see how long they last. But make sure you put it in your own hands first and then spread it gently on the areas of your child that you want to protect. But again, keep away from the mouth, nose, and eyes, those areas where it could be even more quickly absorbed. No reason to put insect repellent underneath clothing, and I wouldn't mix it with sunscreen and other ingredients. Don't use insect repellent on children under 2 months of age, and check the age restrictions on the bottles. Number three, wound care. So I used these this morning. Stashing bandaids and topical antibiotic ointments, probably a really good idea. Most important after a big scrape where a child has an abrasion or even a laceration is cleaning it out. Really directly under tap water is a great way to clean out a wound. Just run it under there for 30 seconds to 3 minutes. Let the water just run through a wound. Then you can pat it dry really gently and put some antibiotic ointment for 1 to 3 days on that area. Keeping it covered with a little bit of air around it will help the healing. And of note, there's really no great benefit to using something like hydrogen peroxide or iodine on these wounds. It's not necessary, especially if you've done a great job cleaning with gentle soap or just water. Have an awesome transition to the beginning of summer. Sunscreen, insect repellent, and wound care is probably our most important stash, and then taking advantage of this amazing extra time we get with our kids.